welcome to the Narrowing Path, walking the spiritual walk. My name is Steve Van Eiderstein, and thank y'all for joining me again today on May 15th for the daily reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. And yesterday we talked about love and how love, the last line, I just want to read yesterday's last line again because I think it was crucial. It rings true for me. I believe it without hesitation or without condition. In this principle of love, all knowledge, intelligence, and wisdom are contained. And I think that's important. I think that's true. Like any growth we want to have, vision, insight, whatever you want to call it, is found through love. It really is. And I think that's just the truth of the matter. I don't think there's any other way to obtain this stuff. So, but here we go. This is going to be May 15th, and I'm excited to see where they continue it. And this will be fresh to you and fresh to me. That means that this will be my first time reading it or seeing it on the podcast with you as I go through it. And you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So here we go, May 15th of James Allen's Daily Meditation. Love is not complete until it is lived by man. Every precept of Jesus demands the unconditional sacrifice of some selfish personal element before it can be carried out. Man cannot know the real whilst he clings to the unreal. He cannot do the work of truth whilst he clings to error. While man cherishes lust, hatred, pride, vanity, self-indulgence, covetousness, he can do nothing. For the works of these sinful elements are unreal and perishable. Only when he takes refuge in the spirit of love within and becomes patient, gentle, pure, pitiful, and forgiving, does he the works of righteousness and bears the fruits of life. The vine is not a vine without its branches, and even then it is not complete until those branches bear the fruits of life. Daily practicing love towards all, in heart and mind and deed, harboring no injurious or impure thoughts, he discovers the imperishable principles of his being. Man's only refuge from sin is sinless love. I like it how it talks about right in the beginning here, the sacrifices we have to make. The things we have to let go of, he names them, a lot of them. You know, the things we have to embrace. The changes we have to make in our lives, really, is where he goes with this. And those are things that I need to be reminded of. Because the thing I've found in my nature, and which is human nature, the lower nature of ourselves, or the animalistic part of us, I believe, is I enjoy my sins a lot of the time. Let's look at this list real quick. I'll enjoy my lust, my hatred, my pride, my vanity, my self-indulgence, my covetousness. Those things do something for me. They let me escape my consequences of my actions, or at least delay the consequence happening. They distract me. They delude me from reality. I enjoyed those things a lot. So to sacrifice these things that I've clung to, that I've enjoyed and I've thought have helped me, when now I know they have not ever helped me. Some have given me the opportunity to endure life until it was unendurable anymore. Like these coping skills, these bad behaviors, these sins of ignorance, provided me ways to walk through life but not be actually living. So let's go ahead and we'll go through this one again. This one's about love once again, and that's the thing I think we need to talk about the most is love. So here we go. Love is not complete until it is lived by man. And so until love is just a concept and a word and a great idea and a lofty moral target until it is actually lived. Till we actually do the things that acting from love would have us do. Until we be and think the way love would have us be and think, right? When we can function and our intentions and our motivations come from a place of love. Not until then is love complete. Every precept of Jesus demands the unconditional sacrifice of some selfish personal element before it can be carried out, right? Like, we have to let go of these things before we can truly act spiritually. Because if we only go through the motions, right, that forced external change we've talked about a lot on this podcast, it will not hold. It will not stay. Because it is founded in nothing but self-serving motives. For the appeasement of yourself, for the appeasement of others, regardless of what it is. A forced external change without the change of thought and intention and heart will not hold. So we have to actually sacrifice some selfish personal elements, some bits of pride or lust or envy or, any of those things I read earlier. The hatred, vanity, self-indulgence, right? Covetousness. We have to sacrifice something along those lines before this will actually work. We have to let the thing that's standing in our way go, which is always ourselves. Man cannot know the real whilst he clings to the unreal. We have to have faith and let go of these things. We have to trust this process and walk through this process. To actually find what is real, we have to let go of the unreal. If our hands are filled with one thing, they cannot let another in. If a cup is filled, it will not accept anything more. We have to let go and have faith and trust. He cannot do the work of truth whilst he clings to error. Again, simply put, we cannot actually practice love while we cling to hatred and all these other personal self-serving qualities that we seem to occupy ourselves with. All right, here we go. Here's the list again. Whilst a man cherishes lust, hatred, pride, vanity, self-indulgence, covetousness, he can do nothing. For the works of all these sinful elements are unreal and perishable, the hollow. They're painful to ourselves and others. They're inauthentic. They're temporary. They're self-serving. Only when he takes refuge in the spirit of love within too. We've all got this. This isn't some external, mysterious thing that we have to sit here and search on a quest for our entire lives to find. Love is found within all of us. The path, that narrow path, the narrowing path that this podcast is named after, the spiritual walk, that is already, the roadmap is within us. We must only look at it. So here we go. Only when he takes refuge in the spirit of love within, he becomes patient, gentle, pure, pitiful, and forgiving. I want to put in pitiful. I want to make a comment about pitiful. When he's talking about pitiful here, this is not the pitiful of like we commonly associate it with, like a person being pitiful, worthless, having no value. Like the very negative connotation that comes with this. Pitiful. That's not the intention of the use of it. It is in this context. I've read other things by James Allen where he says we must have pity, which is really a compassion and perspective and understanding for somebody else. Pitiful. Full of pity for another. Empathetic. Understanding. So again, I'm going to read that list off. Becomes patient, gentle, pure, pitiful, and forgiving. Forgiving's a huge one. I think, when was it? It was 2 days ago. I loved the closing line 2 days ago too. It is the doer of forgiveness who tastes the sweets of forgiveness. When we forgive, we find freedom. We don't allow that person to have control over us anymore. We don't find ourselves as heavy when we find forgiveness for another. Becomes patient, gentle, pure, pitiful, and forgiving. Does he the works of righteousness? So when we don't do those things, we act out of the spirit of love and we become that patient, gentle, pure, pitiful, and forgiving. Are we doing the works of righteousness and bears the fruits of life? There we go. So we can't even start living, truly living, until we start living this way. The fruits of life will not come towards us. Right? Like we talk about it, the power, the peace, the serenity, the steadfastness, the resolve, and the strength that comes from living a spiritual life does not come until we start functioning, until we start operating from the spirit of love. And then it exists without question. It's so important. The vine is not the vine without the branches, and even then it is not complete until those branches bear fruit. This is all the beginning. And this is all part of the process and the growth. We need to get rid of the old behaviors and practice the new ones. And then upon repeated practice and living these principles, our actions will bear this fruit. Our actions will come to fruition. That's where that word comes from, I believe. We need to start from the spirit of love, practice a spiritual way of living, and our lives will become fruitful beyond our wildest imagination or dreams. As unreal as that might sound to some, it's been real for me. So, here we go. Daily practicing love towards all in heart, mind, and deed. So, not just taking the external actions, not just trying to change how you think, but also changing heart, changing where we come from, the function. We shouldn't be functioning from fear anymore. We need to change that. We do not do things out of fear of retribution or failing. We do things out of love and the genuine right thing. We do not live a punishment. We do not live in fear of punishment, of doing the wrong thing. We live to strive to do the right thing. It's a very big difference. Very big difference. Harboring no injurious or impure thoughts, he discovers the imperishable principles of his being. So as we go through this process and we start purifying our mind and bodies and our spirits, we find the imperishable principles of his being. We find these spiritual principles and ways of living that have always been there before us, while we were here, and will be here after us. It is a extremely potent realization to have when we can just come to peace with these principles and they settle in and we accept the truth of them. It changes your life. And we end this reading with this line: man's only refuge from sin is sinless love. Anything we function from anywhere else, if we operate from any other place in our lives, in our hearts and in our minds, we fall subject to sin, to ignorance, to all of those things we listed, the lust and the covetousness and hatred and vanity and pride, all of these things, the self-indulgence, that's the last one there. All of those things will be manifesting in our lives again. Our only refuge from sin is sinless love. To function from a place of love, to do the right thing because it is the right thing, and grow in that understanding and spirit and joy, really. So, all right, well, that's it for today's reading. Great reading about love and the changes we have to make. We have to sacrifice these things that we have held on to as armor for ourselves and give them over. And you'll be surprised what you're rewarded with when you do this entirely. So, thank you all for joining me again today, though. I'm looking forward till tomorrow's. So, until next time, thanks.